So when I'm being really intentional about picking foods for energetic reasons, I very quietly and mindfully eat and I see what happens. And then I learn about me and then what it feels like for me so I can translate it for others. So when I do this, I do have old memories, old emotions. They rise up. It's a great time to journal and I can let them go.
Welcome to the world of energy, where science meets spirit. Ancient wisdom merges with cutting-edge knowledge, and the possibilities for a healthier, happier you are endless.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Energy Works. This is Blaine, and this week I will talk about food energetics. In the world of energy medicine, this is kind of a personal passion of mine. It is a newer part of energy medicine for me to study. It is something that I dove into really about 2 years ago, but I wanted to for longer than that. But it took me quite a while to find a teacher. I would buy my own books and, just try to figure things out on my own. But then when I finally found a teacher, really a group of teachers, then that all changed and I am continuing to study this. We're in another season. We're in the season of fall. The element is metal, and the taste that we work with is pungent. If you remember from previous episodes about food energetics, if you've listened to any of them, we have the 5 elements and we have 5 tastes. We have sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and pungent. And pungent it's a word that in America, in English, we don't use this word pungent as much when we describe food. Even in Chinese medicine, they use words like astringent, which isn't one of the 5 primary tastes, but there are, sub-tastes and many other tastes beyond the 5 primary ones, just like there are lots of other emotions beyond the 5 primary emotions we talk about with the elements. So metal is lung and large intestine are the meridians and the organs that are associated with metal. And when we shift into fall, the energy shifts too. It starts to move down and in. So when we're in summer, it's up and out. The energy is very big and upwards and outwards. Then we come through this transition time where things kind of start to stabilize a little bit, become a little more even. And then we shift into fall, which is downward and inward. Our lungs hold our grief, our sadness, and our old emotional patterns. Large intestine is emotional clinging and energetic waste. And so a word we use around the metal time, around the fall time, is stagnation. Our energy can become quite stagnant. In the fall is when it becomes cold and flu season and people start having issues with congestion in the lungs, congestion in the body. All of that is quite stagnant. And so we use the pungent foods to break up stagnation. Many of you know a lot about me, but there are also new listeners and watchers coming to Energy Works all the time. So I'll just share a little bit of my story as it relates to lung and grief. I had a tragedy when I was 16 years old. It was in December. I was a 100% healthy lunged child. It's healthy all around, but there had never been anything wrong with my lungs. And in April, 4 months after that December, I was hospitalized for the first time with pneumonia. And for the next 21 years, I was very compromised with severe lung problems and hospitalizations and a lot of issues. And I saw lots of doctors. And in the end, when I started to understand energy and emotions, emotions are energy, and grief and lungs and food. Food was such a big part of it for me, which is one of the reasons why I love food energetics so much. I'm so drawn to it because of my personal story around it. I healed myself. I want to say that like 3 times. I healed myself. I healed myself. I'm not against Western doctors, but 21 years of them never did me any good on this particular matter. I had to sort this out with my lungs, and I'm not kidding you. I haven't had, so that 21 years ago ended in 2009. It is almost 2026, and I haven't had one single lung problem since. And so this metal season and grief and lungs and stagnation, and I also have some stuff with large intestine. I used to. I'll spare you the details there. Not nearly as severe as the lung, though. But I was able to break up this stagnation, and I've just been so vital ever since. So this is going to be a short episode. I want to get very practical with you. I'll just read because I have some notes here. Pungent breaks up stagnation so energy can be dispersed and circulated. It moves chi downward and out where we want it to go. Because again, this time of year, we want energy going in and down because it's winter time, it's cozy time, it's kitchen time, it's yin time. We're moving towards winter. I guess we're technically fall. We're moving towards winter. We're getting yin, and then we're going to get even more yin before springtime comes. So it becomes much more of an internal time and not so much of an external out in the world time. You clear emotional density and create space for new inspiration. You let go of the grief, sadness, and resentment held in the chest. So these are the foods that are pungent. I'm going to read the list twice just to help you remember. And then if you are someone who's taking notes, you can review your notes. Ginger, garlic, scallions, onions, leeks, radishes, daikon, mustard greens, arugula, horseradish, wasabi, black pepper, white pepper, chili peppers, cardamom, cloves, cinnamon, fennel, basil, mint, cilantro, and star anise. And you can feel some of these fall foods, right? Cinnamon, cardamom, cloves, like we really start to bake with these in the fall. One more time. Ginger, garlic, scallions, onions, leeks, radishes, daikon, mustard greens, arugula, horseradish, wasabi, black pepper, white pepper, chili peppers, cardamom, cloves, cinnamon, fennel, basil, mint, cilantro, star anise. So this is the time to think about, as you're cooking and preparing food, how to mix these foods into what you regularly eat. And I have 10 ideas for you. Hot water with ginger. I feel like that's an obvious one. You can just make a ginger tea, some fresh ginger, or even a tea bag with hot water. Arugula sauteed with onions and garlic. You can add radishes and mustard greens when you make your salad. When you're making soup, start any soup with garlic, ginger, and scallions. Just chop up garlic, ginger, scallions, and saute that before you start to add your other soup things. You can simmer cinnamon, cloves, and fennel seeds for your tea. You can make a homemade vinaigrette with garlic and basil, or garlic and cilantro. You can put daikon, scallions, and white pepper in your stir fry. You can roast your root vegetables with some minced garlic and chilies. And you can make a warm grain bowl with quinoa or rice and put sauteed leeks and scallions on top of your grain bowl with whatever else you enjoy. And if you're really brave, you can do horseradish. You can take your mustard or your mayonnaise or whatever you'd like to put in your sandwich and put a little bit of horseradish in there. Very pungent. So that's my challenge for you. This week, try to do this 1 or 2 times. Take these foods and add them to your cooking and then mindfully eat. Like knowing I intentionally selected these foods and I want to observe my energy as I consume them. And so quietly and mindfully eat and see what old memories or what emotions rise up for you to release and let go. And so it's such a fun, I do this all the time with food energetics because I can't really be a teacher of it unless I've experienced the energy shifts in my own body. So when I'm being really intentional about picking foods for energetic reasons, I very quietly and mindfully eat and I see what happens. And then I learn about me and then what it feels like for me so I can translate it for others. So when I do this, I do have old memories, old emotions. They rise up. It's a great time to journal and I can let them go. So that is it for this week. I hope you got inspired by a couple of food things you can do in this season. Leave me any comments. I love to hear from you, and I'll see you next time I'm on Energy Works. Alrighty, Energy fans, that's a wrap on another positively charged episode of Energy Works. Lauren, this is the part where we get to use our energy puns.
It's been electrifying, hasn't it, Blaine? We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
If you're feeling amped up and you want to keep your energy flowing, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform.
And we'd love to hear from you. So please take a moment to leave us a review. Your feedback helps us continue to deliver content that resonates. So light up our inbox.
And spark a conversation with your friends to tell them about us. And we'll see you next time on Energy Works.